All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. TG Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way. The truth is the light.
I need to have another one of these.
Amen, amen.
Gee.
Hi, everyone. Before we start this episode, I'd just like to give a little disclaimer that we will be discussing Diddy in this episode and other sensitive topics. I would also highly encourage everyone to please check out the links in our description. We only included small clips from many of these interviews, and these people have a lot more to say. And also, please like and subscribe to many of the channels. If you do check out these videos, they could really use your support. Thanks again for watching.
Welcome to episode 19. I am Jeff. That is Paul. Welcome to Lions, Lies, and Billy Goats. Let's just get into it, Paul. They can like and share if they feel like it.
Heard.
Oh, before, so at work, I now wear like a lanyard thing that says that I'm like a sub. And I walk around the hallway like this.
I'm proud of you, and I'm happy that you're doing your thing and you're enjoying it. But I am a little, I do find it a little odd that you are, working in the education system.
Kindergartners, no less.
Yeah, especially with young kids. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
fine. You were just such a class clown in school. It's just funny to see you in an authoritative position now.
I was worried about like being a sub, but because I hit the wrong thing and ended up with kindergarten autistic kids, I kind of just went with it.
Oh, that's
And
great.
now they keep asking me back. I've been in the same section of rooms for a while. Then they asked me to every day I'm available. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I can work in that department.
Yeah, I think that's great. And obviously, if they keep asking you back, you're doing a good job. So.
And I got my first paycheck today. That feels nice.
Nice.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, we all love payday.
It's been a long time since I clocked the check. But yeah, besides that, let's go to my hometown of Philadelphia. Not my hometown, my current location.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if anybody's aware, but the block takeovers, street racing, donut people, that's been happening a lot down here. It actually happened at the mall down the street like a year ago, last summer. And then when the cops showed up and people broke out, there was like 3 accidents because they were trying to turn into the side streets. And it's like neighborhoods and people park on the road.
Yeah, so we got a couple clips of people just being wild in Philly.
Like this one. So, I mean, these dudes are even bringing drones out to make TikTok videos of this shit.
So
people are wild, man.
Yes. So I'm guessing the idea is that they stole the cop car because I highly doubt.
No, they didn't steal
the cops were.
The cops in there.
Oh.
What can he do? He's by himself. They were slashing tires and breaking all the windows of the other cop cars.
Oh, so the cops just trying to like get through all this, and people are just jumping on the car. Is that how it's going down?
He pulled in to like, with the thought of breaking it up. He put the lights on, and everybody would scatter, and they didn't scatter because there's mad people there.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Go to the next one. You start seeing some of the cars.
This is the same night, right?
I don't know if this one's the same night, but this dude's in one of the cars. So there's kids on bikes everywhere. Now show the last one. The
Should talk.
reason they bugged out because over the weekend, instead of like having one or two, there was like seven over the course of the night. There was one at like 4:30 in the morning.
Should have talked about this in the last episode. It's like New Jersey Drive up in this bitch.
Yeah. I missed my-
Oh, so this is like looks like the start of the video. Yeah, because there's the dude in the green.
Yeah. So this is probably that same drone.
Yeah, probably. Should have played it the other way around. Yeah, this is.
Look, pause it. All right, never mind. Go back like 5 seconds and pause it. Look at the intersection.
Yeah, you can see all these people like have it blocked off.
Yeah, they block traffic, and they do donuts, and the people like stand in the middle, but they get whacked by cars all the time. There's one video of a bunch of kids in like a Grand Cherokee trying to do donuts, but the kids are hanging out the windows and banging on the top of the car, and the car flips, rolls on them.
Oh, yikes. So, I mean, obviously you can see here, like, they're holding up all kinds of traffic both ways, it
Yeah.
looks like. Yikes. What the hell, Philly?
But they did one down in not like center, well, maybe more like center city, but like places you wouldn't think this would be happening. Like down on Market Street in Center City.
I mean, it's obviously coordinated.
Yeah,
Is
they
there-
use like it all started when Snapchats. The what was that flip phone? It looked like a computer almost.
Like the BlackBerry, you mean?
No, before the BlackBerry. It didn't get famous, but like people were using it.
I just remember like the Motorola Razor and shit.
No.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
don't.
you held it sideways and the screen flipped up and there was a keyboard, but it wasn't on. You couldn't get it and have Verizon. You couldn't get it and have Apple. It was like a T-Mobile. It was a sidekick. The sidekick.
Okay.
Okay. Well, like they would do these like flash mobs, and people would like meet up at Grand Central Station. Everybody would pause, or they'd all dance or some shit.
Yeah.
And now it just evolved into this.
Yeah, I mean, because the flash mobs were more or less, they were, harmless. It was just people showing up and just doing a coordinated dance and then just leaving randomly.
Well, yeah, but it's the same concept.
Right. Yeah, no, I get it.
So if you're following the right Instagram page for that night, and it only works for a couple of hours, it's like, oh, we'll be at this corner.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. All right. So yeah, people wilding out in Philly. We have one more too with people wilding out in Beverly Hills. So I'll just play
Oh,
that
shit.
real quick too. These are I saw this the other day. These are kids at a 7-Eleven.
They're grabbing chips and cookies and monster drinks. Yeah, can you imagine working at the Quick Pick back in the day and just 100 kids running up in there, bitch?
Hey, oh my god. Well, you probably wouldn't do anything. You would just
I
let
would
it
just
happen.
stand there.
Yeah.
Probably take some cigarettes for myself.
Snatch and run, y'all! Come back here, you motherfucker, you son of a bitch!
Right? I mean, I was thinking about that when I first saw this, right? Like, be honest with yourself. Like, if we go back in time, these are obviously minors. They're all, looks 14, 15, 16, 17, whatever, right? Teenagers. If you were with a group of people and they ran in there and did this, would you participate? Just from the peer pressure,
I don't know, man. Probably.
Probably.
We probably would have done it.
Well, the idea of, right, like the way I think about it is like, when we were growing up, if a whole group of our friends did this and you didn't participate, they would make fun of you later,
Yeah, I
for
know, but like it's different. I mean, I don't. I it happening in like Mont Olive. When there's one 7-Eleven in the whole town. This isn't like this is the city. You know what I mean? These kids can come from anywhere.
yeah, I get
Got
it.
They got different rules in California about prosecuting theft.
Yeah, I get it. I'm just thinking about it from a different dynamic, just as
Imagine
being
robbing
a
the
kid
7-Eleven.
and what's
Can you
that?
imagine robbing, like running up in the 7-Eleven in Flanders? The same dude, the same family's always there. Like, I'm afraid my fucking parents would find out. I'd rather get arrested than deal with my parents back in the day.
You're right, because again, a small town, right? If we had done that at our local 7-Eleven, we wouldn't have been able to go back in the 7-Eleven. They would have recognized us. Obviously, even back then they had
Yeah.
cameras, you know, standard definition cameras, but
I don't know.
cameras
Maybe
nonetheless.
mob mentality kicks in, but I don't know. You got to be at the right time in the right place.
Yeah, I just think it's likely for a lot of kids who maybe aren't even comfortable doing that to just go along with the crowd because their peers are doing it,
Oh, maybe not.
for fear of being ridiculed later or
I don't
unfriended,
know.
so to speak, because you
There
didn't.
seemed like plenty of kids who didn't go inside. So
There were, yeah, there were.
how are they going to say you didn't unless they caught you on film? Like, hey, yeah, I was in there. I ate my nachos right away.
Yeah.
You know, I stole 10 packs of cigarettes. I smoked them all on the way home.
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty wild. And then I'm not really surprised to see that in California. And
You like my shirt?
yeah, the old school Converse, the
You know
Converse All
where the
Stars.
shirt is from?
What's that?
This is from Step Brothers.
Oh, is it? I didn't even notice
Yeah.
that until my mind went somewhere else when I first saw it. You know about the Red Shoe Club? If you don't,
I
that's
know
okay.
that.
Let's move
I
on.
know. I knew back in the day if you threw sneakers over the power lines, it meant you were selling rock.
Yeah, that was like the key for the trap house. Yeah, there's like a Red Shoe Club or a Red Shoe Society.
I'm straight.
Yeah. I don't really want to go there on this episode anyway. It's kind of disturbing stuff, but look it
Well,
up if you're interested.
speaking of conspiracies, guess what I heard a little bit before we started
What's that?
is that they moved Puffy. His cellmate for a minute was Sam Bankman-Fried. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the
Okay.
the CEO guy
Yeah,
or whatever from the
financial
yeah.
crime. So that was his roommate for a minute. But now, because he's got to appear in court or whatever, he's in suicide watch protective custody in the Manhattan jail, the same exact jail who someone didn't kill themselves in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's the same cell. That'd be wild, but it's the same area.
First thing I thought of as soon as they saw that he was on suicide watch, I was like, they're gonna kill this dude.
You boys don't know what you're doing. I can see that already. Do you know who you fucking with? Do you know who you fucking with? Ah, back the fuck up. Back up. You know who you fucking with in cell number 4 on the 9th floor?
Billy Ray Valentine?
Yes,
Move it. You made bail.
I did.
Yeah, but again, he's in the same spot.
I mean, Hollywood, can you even write a script this good?
No one would believe it. Independence Day is more believable.
Yeah. It's I don't know.
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, thinking about it, I was Facebooking, arguing with not direct friends, but like people we know, people, So I know they're real people.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, some people are just so trapped in the blue that they're just never, they had, you know what I mean? They're just never going to get, they're never going to see it. Like the kid was almost there with economics, almost. And then he said, on some like tirade about money and people getting screwed over. And I was like, okay. But we went to high school with a couple of them. But people.
Was that the basis for the conversation? It had nothing to do with Puffy. It was economic stuff.
No, it was before I was just on Facebook. I don't know. But I was a little frustrated by people. It got to me.
Yeah.
Because like people, like you give people you like kind of know, or like is a real person and not a bot or not some random asshole.
Sure.
Like
You have
there's
mutual
kind of like
friends or whatever. They can
yeah,
confirm
there's
that they're a real person. Yeah.
kind of like a Kevin Bacon degree of separation going on.
Yeah.
So you give them a little bit of a break, and then you give them a chance, and then like it comes to a point where you're just like, dude, you have no fucking idea what you're talking about. No idea. Like I can't. I'm showing it to you. You just can't fucking comprehend anything. You're just literally. It's like talking to the television.
Yeah. I mean, it can be with a lot of people.
Just another Kamala commercial comes up. It's the same exact thing. Like, dude, you're just like you don't even know what the concept is. You're just repeating.
So yeah, I have those conversations semi often, with a couple of my friends here, and yeah, it's basically just more sheep just parroting what other sheep have said, and
Yeah.
pick a topic, and I'm just, and again, I don't come at them any type of way. I'm not trying to sell them anything, convince them anything. They're just like blah blah blah. Okay, where did you hear that? Or where what makes you come up with that, and a lot of times whatever it is that they're saying, they can't they can't actually explain it. We were talking about that a couple episodes about
Yeah,
Project
again,
2025, and
yeah, but see, that's another. It's harder to do those things because that's just like half propaganda crap. I was literally talking about inflation,
right.
and it's no, even like it came to the point where he's like, if you're correct, then Trump was worse than Biden. I'm like, yes, now you have it.
Mm.
Now you understand it. And then he's like, no, that's ridiculous. This is just excuses for more people to have something because money doesn't mean anything. I'm like, all right, dude, you're lost.
Yeah.
See you later.
Well, I feel like economics is a lot more cut and dry, than
That's why I like it.
yeah, because it's all numbers and math, and you
But
know
you don't even need the numbers. It's just understanding how things. I mean, there's numbers to get the formulas to get like the CPI and shit like that. But you don't need to know that to understand how economics works
right.
because it's just like I said, it's just people interacting with one another
Yeah.
and how people do act based on things. But anyway,
Yeah, I mean,
so what did you hear about Puffy today?
so well, obviously there's been a lot of stuff surfacing about Puffy recently.
Now I ain't one to gossip, but
You
I
ain't heard
heard
that from me.
you ain't heard this from me.
But I ain't one to gossip, so you ain't heard that from me.
But DL Hewley, the comedian, you
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm talking about, right?
Yep.
He put out like a statement or a tweet or whatever the fuck you want to call it, and he was like, to all the people coming out now and saying that they might have seen something or yada yada. He's like, you're not witnesses, you're accomplices. Because if you waited till after he got caught,
Yeah, you sent that
and
to me earlier, and it's a fair statement.
yeah,
Let's dive into it a little bit though, right? So like, yeah, he's not wrong. Like if you're coming out now after he's already been arrested, we shouldn't call these people like courageous or heroes or anything, because again, you kind of waited until he was already busted to do so. However, I think we should be encouraging people to come out.
there's a difference. Yeah, I mean, there's encouraging victims, and then the people who might be implicated should come out to save their own ass. You know what I mean? Because if you keep your mouth shut and they start going through paperwork or computer files and videos and whatever, and they find your ass, I hope they go after you. Hypothetically, if it even gets that
Sure.
far.
And the judge is likely to be more lenient with you if you aided the case before you got
Hey,
implicated with
you
it.
can probably stay out of it altogether if you were just like, I forget the dude's name, but he is like the Jeffrey Epstein expert. You ever seen him? Guy's got gray hair, little glasses, got a raspy voice.
I've probably seen him, but I can't. I'm not.
He puts a good example of like how this is a simple example, like what happens, like how do these things happen, like why some like not all celebrities are involved. And he was kind of like, imagine going to like a party with all the famous people, and like 10 o'clock at night, someone sparks up a joint. someone blows a line, and if you're not into it, you bounce.
Right.
And the longer you stay, the more you're kind of feeling it, hypothetically, until they, roofie you.
Yeah, so actually I did see something today. Actually let's go back for a sec. So yeah, so the comment that DL
I'm
Hewley
gonna get to
said.
that thing. Go ahead.
So yeah, I agree with it. I think that's correct in what he said. But also, like I said, at the same time, I would like to I think we should be encouraging people to come out and speak. You know. And I feel like in some ways the comment that he said might deter or gives the the idea that maybe to deter some of these people from coming out, and I don't see how that helps. Yeah, you
His name,
go
his
ahead.
name is Nick Bryant. I'll forward this to you, and you can. The title is new Epstein Files and Diddy Connection, but this is from last month.
Okay.
So I'll send it to you, and you can link it at the bottom of the episode for anybody who wants to watch it.
Yeah, I'll put it in the description.
Again, Danny Jones is that guy with the long blonde. Looks like a surfer.
So yeah, so the statement again I agree with it, and anyway. So I did see something today and it has to do with the baby oil. Did you see that?
Yeah,
Wait, we talked about it. We talked about it.
it specifically said sexual enhancement or sexual performance enhancement, right? And it's an oil, so it's boner juice, basically, because it can't knock you out. Because what's the point of giving you a boner to knock you out at the same time? And how
What?
could it when it get on you from the other person from skin to skin contact? Like you can't lube up one person, and not lube yourself up if you're doing things.
Yeah, well, obviously, since we're talking about a substance that we don't even know what it is.
Oil,
So
sex oil,
we just whatever you want to call it, right?
boner oil.
So
It's got like Viagra mixed in or something. Hypothetically, that's what it's doing.
very well could be. So some of the drugs or the drug concoctions that I've heard allegedly that they were giving to the victims was like a mixture of cocaine and ecstasy. So maybe this oil is somehow tied in because you mentioned like, hey, you don't want them passing out, right? Because that would be, at least if it's a male, you don't want them passing out because that might be counterproductive to whatever you're trying to do, right?
Unless you're trying to bang them in the butt. I mean, there's one thing of knocking the person out and giving something to knock them out, and there's a different thing to rub some kind of oil that's supposed to help you with. It has like tiger dick in it, and it's going to make you have a tiger dick.
Right. So if you are knocked unconscious or whatever, and they can do what they will, at least in that case, then yeah, you would still be able to maintain.
So I'm saying it doesn't make
tenfold.
any sense. So why would you give someone boner juice and knock them out unless you want to hump a dead body or a sleeping body? Which I guess makes sense. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean,
I don't think that his 800,000 bottles of it was 874 dildos, but his 1,000 bottles of oil, if they are that whatever concoction they were calling it on the there
I
was a
think they
nickname
said like
for it.
GHB or something they called it.
No, there was a nickname what they were calling it. It wasn't lotion. There was like a street name for it that they used in the article. But yeah, I'm saying it's not knockout juice, it's boner juice. Hypothetically, if someone had access to that kind of chemical, most likely they're a state actor
For sure.
or an
Yeah.
asset of a state actor. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds like government type drugs. Where would you even get that?
What do you think is going to happen hypothetically with Puffy? A couple options, right? One, he doesn't kill himself.
Hopefully.
Two, he sings. Three, he fights it in court and walks because of court. If the glove doesn't fit, we must acquit.
Yeah.
Or he keeps his mouth shut and does the years. I don't see that.
Obviously, I'm hoping he sings. That's what I'm hoping for. I don't know that that's going to happen.
Well, originally we saw that DeSantis kept him.
Yes.
Oh no, that was the
No.
shooter. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was
yeah, my fault. My fault. All right, so he's in Manhattan court, probably to be arraigned
Mhm.
again or something, because Manhattan's not a. It's not a. I don't think it's a prison. I think it's just like a jail, like the
Where
jail.
is he? In like Rikers Island?
No, Rikers is the jail for all of New York.
Uh-huh.
It's jail. It's not prison. It's jail. Manhattan District, whatever, is federal, and they have a unit somewhere in Manhattan for people who have to go to like Manhattan District Federal Court, whatever it's called down there.
Uh-huh.
And they have a special set of holding cells. But PC in these holding cells, it's not like in the movies where it's like in a hidden corner and no one can get to it. It's kind of like in a normal area, but you're just locked behind a door. You know what I mean? It's not like the tier tenders don't go through there. You know what I mean? And they move people in and out. It's not like you know the guy across from you. He's been there for 10 years. It's not like that there.
Right. So yeah, to back up for a sec, to answer your question, obviously I'm hoping that he sings.
Here's the deal. The FBI investigates, and the district attorney's office, the ADAs or whatever, they prosecute. So they have a case on him, like John said last week. They've got him.
Mhm.
And just because the FBI, the agents might not even be crooked, and the DA might not be crooked, it could be the person above her, but the fact that she's already done it, I don't think that it's. I think more likely that if it goes to court, they would get his ass.
Sure. I'm not so sure that he's gonna walk. That's not what I'm
No,
I'm not
I don't think he can walk.
I don't yeah, I don't
I don't know if he'll even make it to court, like court.
That's not my concern. My big concern here is that they use Diddy as the scapegoat, and then that's it. And then this is over. He's the only one that gets in trouble. Same shit that they did with Epstein. You know, it's been what, 5 fucking years? Reminder, everybody, 5 fucking years. Maxwell, Epstein, and nobody else. Nobody's even been fucking questioned about it.
I don't know.
That's what I'm concerned about.
I don't think Puffy ran an organization quite as sophisticated or clean with less people than Epstein did.
I
think
agree.
Epstein had been closer. Plus, he had at least a combination. If he wasn't CIA, he was CIA and Mossad. He wasn't just Mossad. You know, he was probably CIA with a splash of Mossad. Or they're working together.
Sure. And the FBI obviously knew he was conducting business too, because they busted him in 2009.
Yeah.
And then they let him go back to business for another 10 fucking years.
Because someone upstairs above them lets it happen. They have to eat it. You know what I mean? The guy can't go rogue and arrest him again.
Yeah, of course.
So we got to see how the court plays out if it gets there, or they can whack him. I mean, even if everybody in the FBI is straight and legit, and this is a straight bust, everybody's on the up and up. It's not like that people from somewhere else can't whack this dude. You know, it doesn't have to be. It's not like the FBI. The state plays out the FBI all the time.
Sure.
You see, the guys who actually arrested Epstein were like, "Oh God, I can't wait for him to go to prison and not kill himself."
Sure.
You know what I mean? They thought they had this guy, and then they're probably like, they're probably mad as hell.
Well, again, the thing is, we don't know who's bought and paid for. We don't know who's crooked. So
we know some of them.
We do, but I'd like the no-name people, the no-name FBI people, the no-name district attorneys. Again, they might be names out there to some people, but they're not names to us. I couldn't name one district attorney in the entire country.
Yeah, I feel it.
So I just that's my concern, is that they'll use him as the scapegoat, and that will be the end of it, and then this shit will continue. Somebody else will run it.
There's too many people that people know involved.
Yeah, and we know that this bleeds all the way into Hollywood. Not a little bit, but a lot of it.
Look, talking of all you perverts, it was a big year. It was a big year for paedophile movies. Surviving R. Kelly, Leaving Neverland, Two Popes. Shut up. Shut up. I don't care. I don't care. Season 2 is on the way, so in the end, he obviously didn't kill himself. Just like Jeffrey Epstein. Shut up. I know he's your friend, but I don't care.
You know, how many Hollywood stars have been to Puffy's parties? And I'm not talking about his midnight parties. I'm talking about the 3 a.m. parties that last for days, the freak-offs, if you will. There's got to be tons of them.
But you know who doesn't go there? People like Prince Charles. That's where Epstein comes in.
Yes.
He takes care of that.
I'm gonna tell you who I believe is on the tapes. I believe Barack Obama got a tape.
Yeah, he playing hide the hot dog.
I know Jennifer Lopez has multiple tapes.
Oh yeah.
Oof.
I know Beyonce got a tape. I definitely know they probably recycled some old Stevie J and Eve stuff. I know Drake got a tape. I know Rihanna got a tape. I know Chris Brown's on one of them tapes. I know Trey Songz has been like a supporting actor in many freak-off film. Definitely Usher. I think what would shock people are the politicians. And the royals that were on that tape. And I'm still trying to figure out when Harry and Meghan are gonna be honest about their freak off tape. I don't think anybody really wants to talk about the fact that the royal family had many time at Ditty Party, especially that weirdo uncle.
From what I understand, there's 3. There's Epstein, who was servicing the powerful people, the politicians, the princes, the royal families all across the globe. You have P. Diddy, who's basically doing the music business. You can say hip hop, but he was more than just hip hop.
Right, he's doing A-list
music celebs essentially,
and movies, and young movie stars.
And I think somebody's probably running it in Hollywood too. I don't know. This is just me speculating. I don't know.
Is that a gang sign? Have you, oh, like you don't know what it is. You don't know what that is. I have no idea. You don't know. Jimmy Fallon doesn't know. David Letterman doesn't know. We don't know. All the comics and show business don't know what this is. Right? Yeah. What is it? Come on, Jimmy. Seriously, the time is up. People are hip to this kind of stuff. I'm here tonight to blow the lid off it, to be the whistleblower. I'm sick and tired of the secrets and the lies. It is the secret symbol of the Illuminati, and you're a part of it, and it is the all-mocking tongue. Oh, I like it. For years now, talk show hosts, people on television, people in sitcoms have been hired by the government to throw you off the track, to distract you, to make you laugh and stuff like that, make you happy and docile so you don't know what's really going on. You know, when they get out there in the woods in a circle naked and they decide these things and, you know, and you know, look at him trying to come it up. It's hilarious, hilarious. And
this interview was aired mid-November 2014. Jim Carrey had a girlfriend named Catriona White. They'd been together since 2012. Less than a year after the interview, in September 2015, suddenly Catriona White was found dead in her home in Sherman Oaks.
Well, Puffy's been doing this for 30 years. So you mean like, so if you got caught 30 years ago and you were 20, you're 50 now.
Yeah. But we know that this has been going on in Hollywood too for the longest time. I mean,
it's not
who's
like
been running it there?
Why can't it be Puffy is what I'm saying.
It can be, but I don't think it is.
The music industry, they all hang out with movie stars. The singers are all in movies.
Yeah.
Is the reason like Ashton Kutcher and people are like friends with Puffy, not fucking Tom Hanks.
So I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm sure Diddy has a lot of dirt and does have, you know, some of his hands in the Hollywood industry, but I don't think he's the big dog in Hollywood. But yes, I do think he has a lot of people compromised in Hollywood for sure.
So who do you think? So who are the clients that would be served in Hollywood that are bigger than what Puffy could handle?
like the directors, executive producers, like the Harvey Weinsteins. Where do they go? They don't show up at Puffy's parties. They might show up on Epstein's Island, but is that the only place that they go? I don't know. And who's running the show? It would have to be somebody that's been in Hollywood for a long time that knows everybody.
Weinstein was a different.
Yeah,
different
it's not Weinstein.
No, I'm talking about him in general. He used more of his power and influence to get what he wanted, as opposed to blackmailing. He was like, "You could never work in this town again" type shit. But it wasn't like, "I caught you with three 13-year-old girls."
Yeah, his story's different. I don't think he was filming people doing illegal
But,
things.
Like, if you're talking about directors and whoever, that's like a whole different, like, lower. No one cares about them. They probably don't have to go to fancy parties to do that shit. They can do it on the low because no one knows who they are. But you can't have someone like Russell Crowe, or like, who was serving Kevin Spacey. You know
Well,
what I mean?
again, if it's not Epstein, who? Because it wasn't Diddy, you know.
Yeah, but I don't.
You're shaking your head. I'm not really sure what you're upset about or what you're disagreeing with me
No,
over.
I just don't think that I don't understand what you're just saying. There's like another pimp that held these people, but I don't understand why would there have to be another pimp.
No, I think there's another operation. I think there's another hub to the ring, so to speak. I don't know what it is. That's just what I think. I don't have any evidence to back this up. I'm not taking it to court next week. I just have this weird idea that it's going on in Hollywood too, and somebody else runs it. That's not Epstein. That's not Diddy. So let's talk about Epstein for a second, right? So we know with Epstein, it was little folks, right? Because we can't actually use English words that are in the dictionary on YouTube. So the little folks that he was bringing in, where do they come from?
Okay, all over.
Exactly.
Trafficking's a big
How do they
thing.
get them? You think they're just going over to Ethiopia and tracking 5 kids out of Ethiopia? No, it's going to be hundreds, if not thousands. How do they get away with that? So they got to be paying off somebody, right?
People go missing in New Jersey every year.
Sure. They go
Okay.
missing all over the world. Sure.
So there you go.
You think it's just a couple here and a couple there and a couple? I don't think so. Not from what I've learned at all.
Okay, what do you think they do? Tell me what you've heard.
So from what I've seen, they transport these kids in groups, right? And
where do they find them?
Various places, mostly.
You're saying, like, I don't know what I'm talking about. Where do they find them?
Mostly like poor countries, but yes, they come from the U.S. and Europe and some of the more affluent nations in the world. But yeah, most of it is from poorer countries, and in some cases, the parents actually sell their kids. If you can, if you can believe that or not.
Yes, I believe that.
So yeah, so
I
they
don't know why
actually.
that's so, like, hard to believe that people sell their fucking kids.
Well, for some people, it's hard to believe.
Yeah, well,
bring that up to my mom, and she'll be like, "What? Nobody would do that." Yeah, they do.
Well, you gotta take your mind out of living in America, and once in a while think that other people in other countries make competent decisions that are best for them. It's stupid to call, you know what I mean? Like every enemy of America is like a fucking some kind of madman. Like, they don't know what they're doing. There's no order to their action. They're like, you know what I mean? Like, they're just mad. That makes no sense.
No, that doesn't. But if you like, when you look at it in terms like, oh, okay, you have, 2 parents, they can't afford anything, they can't afford to eat, drink, just eating and drinking on a daily basis is.
Oh, I get it. They sell their kid.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I need to imagine. Yeah, I get it. It happens.
So essentially how this works, and I've seen quite a few whistleblowers on this, alleged whistleblowers, is when they first get control of these kids, they treat them very well, right? Because again, you don't want the kids fighting you. You want them to willingly go wherever you're asking them to go. So like one of these dudes was actually saying that, like, they store them in this particular case, there were these alleged Walmart warehouses, right? Walmart, like warehouses that were actually used for trafficking and no warehouse goods whatsoever.
We showed you one of these facilities a few months ago here on Redacted, a Walmart facility, a former Walmart facility in Brownsville, Texas, that is holding hundreds, if not thousands of children before they are sold off. A whistleblower who worked at one of these facilities, MVM is the name of the facility, has come forward to expose all of this. Carlos Arellano is a former U.S. immigration contractor, and he joins us now. Carlos, welcome to the show, and thank you for coming forward to share your story.
No, thank you for having me. It's like you said, when it comes to child trafficking, there's so much evil behind it that people don't want to touch the story, and if they do touch it, they touch it briefly. And it just goes to show you how much evil there is behind it, that it holds that much power over people, that it's kept in the dark.
Again, this is allegedly. I'm not going to say that
So
anymore.
they kept him in an old warehouse?
So they had like hundreds of kids in this massive warehouse.
Okay.
Right? And basically that's where they stage them after they bring them into the country. I think the warehouse was in like Texas or New Mexico or some shit like that. So after they bring them into the country, and they shuttle them in. They come in through buses, trucks, all kinds of stuff.
Later on in the night, I get a report time for the following morning. You get a 5 a.m. report time, 4 a.m. It's always in the dark because they don't want us picking up these kids in the day where people can see us. And I would get for example, hey, 4 a.m. And I would not find out where I was going until the following day when I would show up to the charter bus. We would get phones given to us, backpacks given to us. And until we got to the shelter, to the Walmart shelters that you broke on your show.
Masks, and they have them keeping their head down. They're telling them to hide their face. Many of these kids go missing.
I've even had a little friend. I can't remember her name, but she said she didn't know where she would go.
And MVM is an organization that has moved thousands of...
I don't work for you.
You do not work for MVM?
I'm on vacation.
You said that you were on vacation, and now you're moving this small child to the airport. I thought you were on vacation. Do you have any comment about the children that have gone missing that you've helped to escort across the country?
So they'll bring them to these facilities and before they figure out where they're shipping them to. It's really fucked up, man.
I started hearing horror stories from my coworkers. My coworkers used to tell me my child that I escorted was crying because they said that they did not know the sponsor that I was taking them to. And they were telling me, please, sir, I don't want to go to the sponsor. I don't know them. They at the campsite where I was, at the Walmart shelter where I was, and I would brush it off saying, there's no way that's true. But then one day I received an email from my boss admitting in a company email that we handed off children to the wrong people. And all the stories that I would hear from coworkers immediately it just hit me hard in my face. And I had a big panic attack and I couldn't breathe. And
snagging girls off the street, that shit happens.
Sure, of course it does.
Yeah.
But I don't think that that's their main method
It depends on your clientele, because you're not getting certain particulars from broken down, busted up countries.
A lot of the kids coming over here, are they trafficked, or like what's the...
Some are. I'm not gonna lie. Some are.
Does that happen a lot, that the kids come over here with a totally fake name?
It has.
Yeah?
I mean, there's no way for us to verify.
And so they come over here with a fake name, and then they just come over, what? They just get a brand new identity. They could be anybody.
Have you seen the movie?
Sound of Freedom?
Yeah, Sound of Freedom.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Exactly like that. Shit happens.
You guys get the kids coming over here with the notes that are attached to them with the addresses, right? And a lot of times those addresses lead to like a sex trafficker or something, right? That's legit.
Yeah. There's a lot of shit that we can't tell.
What's the issue though? Why can't you guys talk on camera?
It's the policies that we have, things that we can and can't say.
But why don't they want you talking on camera?
Politics.
Anyway, yeah, it's really disturbing stuff. It sounds like almost unbelievable when you first hear it, you know, and I'll be honest, when I first started seeing all this stuff too, I was like, yo, come on, that's crazy. But if you dig, there's a lot of that.
They just
people
watch
out there saying that.
a couple of movies that have just come out about it.
Sound of Freedom being one of the most famous ones. That, of course, Hollywood really did not try to push at all. From what I understand, they actually tried to stop it from getting released. So again,
Correct.
back to Hollywood. Why would you want to stop that from getting released?
Well, they made a stupid movie that the Republicans bitched about called The Hunt or Hunt. Did you see that?
No.
They bring some people to like the woods and there's a bunch of cabins and shit. And then because they don't say it, but because they're Republicans, and then like liberals can go hunt them down and kill them. It's really cheesy, but I remember it getting heat when it came out. That's why I watched it. And that movie with the girl who stops the terrorist attack, or not the school shooting, they didn't pump that movie either because it had the good guy with the gun thing going on.
Well, now they're hating on Am I Racist, which I heard is excellent. I haven't seen it.
Oh, I don't know. I heard What Is a Woman is good too, but
yeah,
it's fucking Matt Walsh.
Matt Walsh. Yeah, I've seen clips of it because I've been in the theater when it's playing, and some of them are pretty funny. I chuckled a couple times, but mostly I'm just sitting there shaking my head, listening to the people that he's in the room with, because it's just wild, some of the stuff that comes out of their mouth. One lady said she was talking to her 4-year-old about racism, and that what's his name, Matt Walsh, was like, well, I have a 6-month-old. Should I talk to my 6-month-old about it or something? And she's like, oh, absolutely. Like, what? I just started laughing like, this bitch is crazy. 6 months, the baby can't even talk yet, and you're trying to have a serious conversation with a 6-month-old? What the fuck's wrong with you? Or a 4-year-old for that matter. Or a 6-year-old for that matter. What the fuck, man?
Eat that shit up, man.
Oh my god, it's crazy.
Dude, it all started around like 2008, after when Obama came in.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to flip the topic. I think maybe we should just stay on Diddy and all that stuff.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, this is really disturbing. I think we're going to get a lot more information.
Well, what I saw is, a couple of celebrities are already clearing out their shit. Like I saw Pink and somebody else.
Usher.
Usher.
Usher claimed it was a hack.
Yeah, I saw that.
So somebody hacked you, went and deleted all your tweets, and then that was it? Who would do that?
Look at I used to make fun of this cat, but now I feel bad. Justin Bieber used to always be this little bitch.
Yeah.
And I see the dude, I'm like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
Or Bow Wow or Usher.
All those guys. I think Usher, from what I've seen, again, allegedly, he's part victim and part villain. But I think it's just because they got him so early. When he was young. I think he was 14 or 15 when he started, associating with Diddy. So I don't know if they groomed him to think like, hey, this is normal, this is okay.
Some of them, I forget who it was. It was either Usher or I think it was Usher. And he's like, yeah, I lost my virginity at like 13. The chick was like 22. They're like, like Puffy's like, here's a gift, become a man today.
Yeah.
That's not right, I guess.
But I owe Bieber an apology too. I never did anything bad, but it would just be like random jokes. Oh, don't be Justin Bieber, or you look like Justin Bieber, or something silly, But
I don't even know what I said. I probably just said he sucked.
Could have been a leader, a role model. Instead, you're Justin Bieber.
Fuck you.
Hey, Ted.
I'm sorry, kid. Sorry, please forgive me. I'm sorry.
But yeah, that poor kid, man. He's not even a kid anymore. He's a grown man now. So yeah, I feel bad for him. I really, I hope that one day maybe he finds the courage to come out and speak about this. If he doesn't, that's okay.
And there was something with Aaron Carter too.
Yeah, well, so I started to say earlier, and I forgot what I was talking about, but it was in direct relation to Hollywood, right? Because yesterday we were talking about a lot of the Hollywood kids that have committed suicide over the years. It started with Jonathan Brandis because we were talking about Neverending Story. He's in the second one. Remember Jonathan Brandis? He's in It, the TV adaptation. He's the main character. He plays Bill, blonde hair. Got
yeah, Silver Spoons.
Yeah. So you got Jonathan Brandis, River Phoenix, Joaquin's brother, and then what's that?
Corey Haim.
Yeah. Well, Corey Feldman has been saying that shit for years.
Yeah.
talking about what happened to him. And if you guys are interested, you can look up Corey Feldman's interviews, and you'll hear him talk about what
It's
actually
hard,
happened and
man.
what he
It's
saw.
hard to listen to that dude.
It's really hard to listen to.
Because he's getting crazier and crazier over the years.
Well, again, he grew up with all of that shit.
Yeah, I know.
So
But
I
he's not
thought the same thing, like, oh, Corey Feldman, he's a nut job. But now knowing what I know, all of this shit is starting to make sense. Like, of course he's a nut job. I'd be a nut job too if I grew up in that fucking environment. You know,
Well,
who knows what happened to him?
I believed him before, but he's been talking about it and getting weirder. Like, remember, he was on the Surreal Life. Do you remember that show?
Yeah.
He was on that, and then I still see him like give interviews. Not like I don't ever watch the whole thing because I can't deal with him, but he's kind of like I see him sing, he can't sing for shit.
No, he sucks at singing. Yeah.
It's terrible.
Sorry, Corey.
It's terrible.
Yeah, no, he's not very good at that. It's not his thing. But you know, again, I it's just to look, you know, at all the young, you know, people coming up. Like, you know, you just mentioned a lot of the young musicians and a lot of the young actors. You know, and now I understand.
You remember Family Matters?
Yeah.
Judy became a porn star.
The little girl?
Little girl, yeah.
Oh, no kidding. It's funny that you brought Family Matters up because I heard something. Did you hear that about Diddy and Carl Winslow?
Carl Winslow's taking it. That's unbelievable.
That's fucking crazy,
I
man.
thought he'd be more of a giver than a taker.
That's pretty crazy.
You know? Always eating Twinkies and shit.
Yeah, or showing up at the Nakatomi Plaza. You know.
He saved the day.
Yeah. Man, I don't know, but yeah, a lot of these you know, childhood musicians and childhood Hollywood actors and stuff. Yeah, a lot of this stuff is starting to really make sense.
Oh shit! I lost my train of thought. I had something.
Did you see the one? It was I think it was Shirley Temple. Did you see that?
I've heard. I don't remember what I've heard about her.
And when I got there with
pull it up, show it to you.
Corey Haim was the shit. He was in some good movies. License to Drive is a great movie.
Yeah, he's in what's the other Stephen King adaptation with Kiefer Sutherland? Where you guys want to see a dead body?
Lost. Oh yeah, Lost Boys.
No, not Lost Boys.
Stand by Me.
Stand by Me. Yeah. That he was in that too, right? Oh no, wait, that was River Phoenix.
Yeah, that was River Phoenix.
Yeah, my bad.
He's in License to Drive, which is great. He's in that movie Lucas, where apparently on scene with Charlie Sheen.
Corey Feldman has stuff to say about Charlie Sheen too.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's why Corey Haim was on the set with him, where that supposedly happened.
Yeah. Something about tractor trailers.
We're close enough. God, what else is he in? Oh, he's in. He is in Lost Boys though. He's the little brother of James Patrick or whatever.
Shit.
But Corey Feldman's in that too.
Yeah, he is.
And then he's in that movie with Jamie Agart from Charles in Charge, the older sister. And I remember being on vacation with my parents, and the name of the movie they're in is Blown Away. And it came out the same time as the Tommy Lee Jones Blown Away when he's the Irish bomber.
Oh yeah, I remember that Blown Away with Nicole Eggert or whatever.
Yeah, so we're at the hotel.
I think that was my first boner ever.
I'm like, oh, Blown Away is on. This is awesome. I'm like, this movie's really good, Mom. You'll like it. And we put on Blown Away, and I'm like, this isn't Blown Away. This isn't right. And in the first like 20 minutes, it's like they're banging. And my mom's like, oh, like, this is not the right movie.
Yeah. I actually saw that movie when it first came out, and yeah, I don't even remember the plot or anything. I just remember being like really disturbed, and I remember getting like a crush for Nicole Eggert. Like that's what I got out of that movie.
Nicole Eggert's Charles in Charge, homie.
Yeah, I know. She also was on Baywatch later on too, after she became like famous.
True.
But yeah, she was just really easy on the eyes. Here, since we're on the subject, let me share this. I saw this the other day. It was the first time I ever saw it. Oops.
Fox, I went to MGM for one picture. Thank goodness, only one. And when I got there with my mother, we were separated. She went into the office of Louis B. Mayer, and I went into the office of Arthur Freed. And he was going to talk to me about a movie he wanted to put me in. I'm 12 years old, you know. And I thought he was a producer, but instead he was an exhibitor. And I'd never seen anyone naked before, except myself. So I had no clue about what was happening. And so it struck me so funny, I laughed at him. And I laughed uproariously. I had tears, you know, and he got infuriated. And he said, out, 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 go.
Did you tell your mother?
Well, I was very quiet. I went down and met her in the lobby of the administration building. She came out very quietly from Louis B. Mayer's office, and we walked hand in hand silently to the car, which was unusual. We got in the car driving home. I said, Mom, you won't believe what happened to me. And I told her what happened, and she got kind of quiet. She said, well, you don't know what happened to me. And Louis B. Mayer wasn't as bad as Freed was to me.
You tried
but he came on to my mother. And so we both decided that we didn't like MGM much. It was, you know, it was better at Fox. I left Fox. I went to MGM.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's Shirley Temple. Shirley Temple.
Yeah, Shirley Temple.
Yeah.
You've seen in The Godfather, there's a big scene about that when Tom Hagen goes out to talk to Waltz, the director.
Refresh my memory.
In The Godfather,
Yeah.
right? And Frankie, the singer, he needs to get that movie, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so he sends Tom Hagen out to talk to the director.
Yeah.
And the first time he sees the director, you see a little girl and her mother in the background. And then when Tom Hagen shows up at the house, you can see the little girl come out and her makeup's all ruined, and you can tell they implied that he was having his way with the girl.
Oh.
And then when he's screaming at Tom Hagen about, he's like, Johnny will never get that movie, and I'll tell you why. It's because when he talks about how Johnny stole a girl he wanted to sleep with, and he's like, it's the greatest piece of ass I've ever seen. I've had them all over the world.
She was beautiful. She was young. She was innocent. She was the greatest piece of ass I've ever had, and I've had them all over the world.
Yeah, but they're implying about having sex with underage kids.
And then the horse head in the bed. But so I guess the reason, again, this is the point is that this has been going on in Hollywood for a long time, right? So when I said earlier, like, I feel like there's another hub of this ring that hasn't been exposed yet that's in Hollywood. Again, this is way before Diddy. This is before Epstein. Who's running it? Again, maybe there is no hub. Maybe I'm just tripping, you know.
It's harder and harder to hide shit with the internet these days. That's why they're trying to censor information so much. I should have shown you the clip of her today. Jesus Christ. It's from the other day, but they're literally saying censoring internet talk. It's literally anti-First Amendment.
Well, yeah, we know they want that. Will they be able to accomplish it? I don't know, but
they're saying it out loud.
Yeah, they already have to some degree. I mean, we get suppressed on here every week.
Yeah.
You know, we don't get to see anybody. The public doesn't see us.
Yeah, no shit. But what they're arguing for is the government will be allowed to say what is misinformation and what is not. That's literally what they're arguing for.
That's dangerous.
That you can't say that you have one rule for Facebook and you have a different rule for Twitter. The same rule has to apply, which is that there has to be a responsibility that is placed on these social media sites to understand their power. They are directly speaking to millions and millions of people without any level of oversight or regulation, and that has to stop.
Okay, right away.
Yeah.
There's no way to misconstrue that.
What does that mean?
Oversight
Yeah.
and regulation for free speech is ridiculous.
Yeah, totally.
Just that alone, there's no way to misconstrue that, right? What
Mhm.
she was saying is what I was thinking she was saying. She was saying she wants government oversight and regulation for social media.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
But I think Joe Rogan was talking about it with when Kat Timpf was on his show the other day. I saw the clip. I think the King of Munchkinland sent it to me today.
Yeah, I don't know. It's real disturbing stuff, though. Obviously, you hear from Shirley and her mom, where Shirley goes in the room with one dude and he's trying to get busy with her. And then this guy's in the room with her mom at the same time trying to get busy with her. Are you trying to tell me that those guys didn't have a conversation prior to both of them showing up about how this was going to play out?
Not the first time they've done it.
Oh, of
Again,
course.
it's a game as old as time too, man. When there was hoeing, there's pimping.
Of course. I guess my point is that when you talk to the normies, right? Like the masses, right? And they're like, "Oh, there's no way that's going on." Well, yeah. Again, don't take my word for it. I wasn't there. I don't know this stuff. But we have other testimonies of people saying it was. People that were in the business.
It's just people who are afraid to accept reality.
I think that's part of it.
You can't, like, unless you have to put yourself, like I said before, you have to put yourself in the other person's shoes. You know what I mean?
I think
if there is a need and a want and someone willing to pay for it, no matter how fucked up, someone's going to supply it.
Absolutely. If there's money to be made, yeah, people will.
And think about the people
fill
who
that
work.
need.
Think about the grown-ups who work for these people, the guys catching the girls and the pimps and the guys beating them, the guys who have to break them in. They're probably traumatized too. They're all screwed up as kids.
Yeah.
And they had to grow up a certain way to be able to, like, you got to have a certain kind of mindset to break somebody in. You know what I mean? You have to be a real psychopath.
Well, you basically have to be detached, I think. And I think you can cause somebody to be detached at a very early age, even though their life probably wasn't going to happen to them. Yeah, through various torture, abuse, and stuff. Yeah, you can absolutely make that happen.
It takes a certain kind of employee.
That's kind of what I was hinting at with Usher earlier. From what
there's a difference between running numbers and clipping people for the mob.
Right. Yeah, I think in terms of people just acknowledging what's real and what isn't, I think that's a whole psychological game that you got to play with yourself, because the thing is, especially in music and in movies, right, in film, whether it be TV shows, movies, right, we get attached to actors. You get attached to an actor based on their specific role. Like I grew up loving Harrison Ford, because I loved Indiana Jones and I loved Han Solo. So I feel like I know Harrison Ford, even though I never met the dude, and because he's really just playing characters.
I got you.
So I think so if using me as an example, if it came out tomorrow that Harrison Ford is a P, how would I respond to it? And again, me nowadays, I would be like, oh well, hey, if he's a P, he goes to jail. But I think for a lot of these people who are still asleep.
How do you feel about Kevin Spacey?
I think he's a great actor, but if he did what he was accused of doing, put him in jail with everybody else. Take his name off the billboards.
Anthony Rapp's a weird actor. Look at Andy Dick. He went all fucking wild too.
Yeah, we talked about him. I think a couple episodes back.
Oh yeah, we did.
But yeah, I think the thing is that some of these people get so attached to these musicians. Taylor Swift is a fantastic example. People get so attached to them that if you say anything bad about these people, they immediately get defensive, and they don't even know these people. They think they know them, again, for the same reasons that I thought that I knew Harrison Ford as a child. And yeah, that psychology is just powerful, and it's really hard to let that go.
Like, you could, like, again, like my example of Facebook earlier today, like people, again, I know I said this in the show plenty of times, people identify so hard with the system or with whatever that when you question it, they take it as a personal insult.
Yeah.
Like, dare you question the state? I love them and they are correct.
Yeah.
And all the shit they told me is true.
Yeah, I think they begin to almost associate themselves, with that person. So when you say something negative about them, they, like you said, they take it as like a personal slight.
Yeah, they've done studies upon studies, and they put things on your head, and they show you pictures, and the things that light up are like the fight or flight parts of your brain.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, it
makes sense to me. And the longer this goes on, the harder it is to break out of that shell. You know,
Look at like they have. I don't know how much you watch Breaking Points, but Saagar gets into this shit all the time. Like the amount of like stupid things like, would you marry if your spouse or your girlfriend was from the other party? Would you break up with them or would you marry them? 60% are like, yes, I would break up with that person because they are a Republican.
which is crazy.
It's fucking
Because
retarded.
y'all probably agree on 19 out of 20 things, and you're breaking up because of a color or an elephant or a donkey.
I mean,
You remember? Go ahead.
So much, dude. That TDS is real. It is a real thing.
Well, again, if you're that's just more divide and conquer stuff. I don't like to get into the Republicans versus Democrats. I'm neither. I identify as neither. You know, so I try to not get caught up in that game. But
Well, it's kind of hard. It's hard to avoid it because you talk to anyone, especially someone on the left. If you don't agree with them, you're automatically a Trump supporter. That's a given.
Well,
and then you're an idiot.
I think the approach has a lot to do with it, you know, because typically when you're dealing with, you know, GOP versus Democrats, as soon as one finds out the other one is not on their team, it usually escalates pretty quickly, and I usually try to avoid that because I'm not on anybody's team. I'm on my team.
Great. It's been my personal experience that more often than not, when you engage with somebody on the left, they will either butt Trump and disagree with you, or they'll just fucking think you're wrong. I don't know.
You realize I can say the same thing about the right.
I hear you, and I agree. But what I'm saying is I find it more often with the left. My engagements with the right don't go the same way as the left.
That's fair. I think, or at least my theory. Go ahead.
What about Kamala? What about Kamala? What about the Democrats? And they did this and they did that. And when you are agreeing with them, like it's easy. Democrats love you when I talk shit about Trump. But as soon as they find out I don't support Trump either, they're like, oh, whoa, whoa. You know what I mean? Or the Trumpers love me when I can beat on the Democrats, but they don't get all bent out of shape when I think Trump sucks.
Well, I think
most of them get straight up mad, dude. Mad, angry.
I think some of the reasoning behind that is because, you know, many of the people on the left-hand side nowadays are very systemic, right? They're part of the machine, essentially.
What you said.
Yeah. So I think a lot of it has to do with the propaganda and stuff that they absorb. Where and I'm not saying that the people on the right aren't in the machine too, but I think it seems to be more so on the left than it is on the right. So the people that are on the right are getting more accurate information in some cases.
Go through the history of what the left has said. Like I have that 2.5-minute video of the left saying, "Get out and fight, attack, yell." You know what I mean?
Sounds like Scientology strategies.
No, but it's like you have to get up in their face. You have to yell. They're the ones who will say no violence, and then for 2.5 minutes, you can see the leaders of their party saying it's okay to be violent against Trumpers. Well, they call him, you know, he's Hitler. He's evil. The democracy is going to fall apart, and you can see it in people's responses. Like, I'm voting for democracy. Like, no, you're fucking not. You're voting for a chick who a couple of months ago was a buffoon.
Right.
It's going to be the greatest media trick on earth when they convinced half the country that someone they hated and thought was an idiot before is suddenly good enough to be president.
And didn't even get elected, was appointed to the position, which is like the most undemocratic thing ever. Like, y'all didn't even vote on this shit. How is that democratic? Again, leave Trump aside. Let's just talk about this for a second. It's wild to me.
That one meme with the NPCs, it's like, you're for Kamala now. It's like, we're for Kamala now. That's literally how.
Yeah. That's what they come across like to me, like NPCs in a game. For those of you who don't know what an NPC is, it's a non-playable character. You know, it's basically Toadstool and Mario when you finish the dungeon or whatever. Yeah, it's crazy to me. Yeah, that Sometimes I actually like laugh out loud, like when this is happening. I'll hear somebody say something in public that I know is just like an NPC just regurgitating, parroting something that another NPC said, and I just start laughing. I don't approach them. I don't let them know that I'm laughing at them. I just think it's funny.
Like sometimes I hear shit, or like someone will respond to me, and I'm like, I can't tell if they're just like, are you really this fucking dumb, or are you fucking with me? I can't tell if you just know if you're like purposely being an idiot because you know I'm gonna keep trying to explain it to you,
Right.
or are you just a fucking idiot?
I don't know. I think maybe there's a portion of the people that is just, for whatever reason, they're unable to critically think. I don't know if it's our education system is to blame for that, because they don't want you to critically think. Just answer the questions, read it back to us verbatim, right? Which is everything we've been doing our entire lives, right? When you really think about it, right? When you went to school, you would have a quiz every Friday, hypothetically speaking, right? And most of the time, the quiz was just asking you to regurgitate whatever the teacher textbook covered earlier that week. You're not actually thinking outside the box. You're not actually thinking. All you're doing is you're just memorizing everything that was taught to you and then putting it on a piece of paper at the end of the week, which is exactly what we see going on today, minus the paper and the quiz.
It's part of the plan. It's written. It's fucking written down.
Yeah, that's how it works. That shit's strong. That game is strong. And I think it's really hard to break free from. Again, one of the first things you got to do when you break free is to humble yourself. You got to be like, "Oh shit, I might have been wrong about this. Actually, I might have been wrong about a lot of stuff, And that's hard for a lot of people to do.
It's hard to admit that something you believe so much is correct. And the problem is that most of this shit, they don't even know, they don't even have a reason why they're right. They just think that it's right because they've heard it so much.
Well, yeah, repetition is like the most powerful form of psychology. Hearing something over and over and over again till it's drilled in your head. To where you don't even think about it anymore. You're like, oh yeah, of course that's true. I've heard it 8,000 times. Of course it's true. Did you ever look into it? Nah, but it's true.
No, it's true.
Everybody's saying it. But yeah, that's powerful shit. It's all like, then there's like the herd mentality, which is kind of where I went with that. Where, when, like we were talking about the CIA experiment, with the 18 people, and then 17 of them say that triangle's a square.
Yep.
It's a square. Look, if 17 other people just said it, it's definitely a square.
And
Looks
a
like
lot
a triangle to me, but okay.
A lot of people just don't care.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that they don't care. I feel like there's a lot of people out there, and again, I don't mean any offense by this, but I feel like they're being manipulated.
Well,
but you don't realize you're being manipulated. I didn't.
There's enough people that can vote that don't vote to support the argument that a decent amount of the population does not care. Because if they care, okay.
Yeah, maybe a lot of them don't. That's fair.
And the overwhelming majority of voters are not. They're not. There's a lot of this is no fault of their own because there's not enough time in the day. It's the rational ignorance.
I think that's true too. Again, if you keep the people distracted, they don't have time to really follow any of the stuff that's going on. They don't have an argument.
They don't even need to watch football or watch TV. Like, you got kids, you got a job, you got a house, you got soccer practice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm not saying that you're sitting there playing games all day or whatever. It might just be your daily life. Maybe you work 3 fucking jobs. Maybe you got kids. Maybe you play soccer. Maybe you whatever.
And if unless you're interested in it, like I am, or like you are, you don't seek it out. You'll take what's shown to you and accept that as truth. Because it reinforces enough of what you already think to be true.
And that's exactly what the regime wants. Exactly.
Like I talk to people about the civil rights movement or all the civil rights laws that passed, Social Security and the affirmative action shit like that. And they automatically think it helped. No matter all the proof that I can show you that it didn't help, it actually hurt the same people you were trying to help. Won't even look at it. Like, you spent your whole life learning something that was wrong, and you won't take 5 minutes to check yourself.
What do you think the ratio is of leaders to followers in the world? Obviously, everybody can't be leaders because then we'd have, a whole bunch of people, off doing their own thing. And then we can't have everybody be followers because nobody would ever go anywhere. What do you think the ratio of like the total population of humanity is? Like, how many of them are leaders? 10%? 5%? 20%? 1%? What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, there's some that are born, and there's some that can be taught or will become. You know what I mean?
And if you would just lead them to freedom, they'd follow you. And so would I.
I don't know. I think it's one of those things that experience gives you. Sure, you're probably born with it a little bit in some cases.
That's fair. I think you are in many cases. You watch a couple kids play, and which kid's the ringleader? Because that's literally the leader.
Charisma, pizzazz.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, 1 out of 5.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds. I don't know what the answer is, or if there even is an answer. But yeah, it's a question that I've been asking myself lately as we, have this conversation about all these NPCs just following whatever everybody else is saying. Didn't check it, didn't look into it, didn't care if they agreed with it. Well, so and so said it, so that's what I believe.
There's plenty of people who think like we do.
Sure.
Who are just like, I hate them both. Third party's never going to win. I'm not even going to show up.
Sure. Well, I would say that we are free thinkers or critical thinkers, or
you don't have to be the critical thinkers. There's more and more people who are just getting tired of the lies and realizing that half the country thinks they're 100% right and thinks the other half is stupid. And the other half thinks they're 100% right, and the other half is stupid. It's possible that you're both wrong, you're both a little bit wrong, and maybe a little bit right. But you know what I mean? Like
that's divide and conquer again. Here we go, right back to it. Which is where they want us, because we're easier to control that way if we spend all this time fighting amongst ourselves.
Yeah, because you have to realize that the state is its own thing. They are doing it on purpose to maintain power. That's their number one control. Their number one purpose. The first thing they need to do is be secure. They need security. So you need to define borders, and you got to make sure no one can overtake you. And you got to keep the population stupid, or at least distracted, so they can't pay attention to the shit that you're really doing. But I think with the spread of information now, and more people, especially the young, are getting fed up. And, like that old saying is like, wait until you wake up the people who don't want to be bothered.
I think that's us, because I'll be honest, there's a lot of other things that I would rather be doing than sitting here talking politics and economics and all that stuff. I mean, I do enjoy talking to you, Jeffrey, but I really wish we could sit here and talk about movies or video games for an hour and a half every week. I'd get much more enjoyment out of it. But this shit's more important.
Like, what do you think? It's so, like, I know there's only like 6 weeks left, but it feels like there's so much time, but not enough time. Like I don't, like, so much could happen between now and election day. Like, if I ask you who you think's going to win, at the same time, I'm like, could it be Trump? Are they going to whack him? Is he even going to be there? What happens if it is? What happens if it isn't? What happens if Kamala wins? Like, what happens?
So Beatnuts was just I was just talking to him about 2 days ago. He was over here, and we were talking about that. He asked me about it, and he said, "Hey, who wins?" And honestly, I think Trump is ahead. And I think Trump has been ahead the whole time, to be honest. Again, I don't have any polls or any evidence to back this up. I just think he's been ahead. Especially after RFK jumped onto his team. So I thought he was ahead before that, and then after that,
that's another thing that's funny is that Tulsi and RFK, the only two sane Democrats, went to Trump, and then all the crazy fucking neocons, the guys involved in Iraq and Afghanistan,
Cheney and all them, yep,
straight warmongers,
Yep.
go to the left, and they're like, "See, Trump people are leaving," and I'm like, "See, the military-industrial complex is coming to the left." You know what I mean?
I think I said that in the last episode or 2 episodes ago. Like, it's weird to me that the Democratic Party is now the war party. And I'm not saying Trump is anti-war because he's got his freaking pants all pulled up for Israel. So
It's not hard if you look at the people who are in the cabinet, the people who are the deputy secretaries, undersecretaries, and shit. Click on them and follow their career paths. And click on the other ones. They all end up working at the same spots, coming from the same schools. When they're not in power, they're in these think tanks or teaching at these schools, or they're part of this firm.
Yep.
And then you come back in. They sit on the boards of like Nikki Haley sits on the fucking board of Raytheon. Her job is to get America into more war.
yeah, and she's going to make a whole lot of money off of it.
Keep business humming. And like in the beginning, it was good. Like in 2000, it was like, oh, Trump loves Halliburton. Trump loves Halliburton. Bush and Cheney, because Cheney was part of Halliburton. Halliburton's just another Raytheon. It's just a military supplier. You're just different people, different hats at different tables.
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't think most of the NPCs know that, and that's okay. That's okay. We don't expect them to know that because, again, me and you we follow it, so we understand.
How can you look back and even the things that like the left will be, or anybody actually would be like, we did this back when and we were screwed up, like the government's fucked up. The government's fucked up.
Yeah.
What do you think suddenly made them stop being fucked up because you started voting?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they've been fucked up.
I've said that numerous times, not just about the government, but the FBI, the CIA, all these. Oh, hey, they were bad back in the day, but don't worry, they're good now.
They're good now.
All right.
It doesn't happen when my color hat is in office.
Right.
The government is not corrupt, but the next day, when someone else comes in, corrupt the whole time.
Well, what the people really don't fail to understand is that we've had basically a permanent regime, permanent politicians that just keep passing the torch to each other. So it's the same people running the show, or I should say the same groups and organizations running the show, and they have been since me and you have been here, since before that. It's basically like a permanent government that never leaves, and most people don't know about it.
Well, it's been growing since 1784.
Well, I'm not sure it existed back then. I was thinking more of like,
the state has always existed.
No, not that. I mean like the permanent wheel in the government.
Well, yeah, that didn't come in until the Federal Reserve.
Yes.
And then
that's when I think it happened.
Yeah, the Federal Reserve, because that's when they realized they could pay for things without taxing.
Mm-hmm.
And in World War II, when they realized how much money they can make out of war. And then they used the CIA and transferred it into a vast intelligence gathering service with the purpose of meddling with other countries.
Mm-hmm.
That was the whole thing.
Yeah. Usually for installing whoever they want, or even starting war. So again, you can keep the military industrial.
That great speech by presentation by Mike Benz.
You did. I didn't get a chance to watch it.
You should attach it to the bottom because it's really fucking good. I tried to share it on Facebook, but no one. I think Facebook demonetizes me. It shows my memes, but if I post an article or something, no one ever sees it.
Well, Zuckerberg's been in the news recently for claiming to now be a libertarian. Did you see that?
Yes.
You're not buying it, huh?
No. Why is he calling a libertarian? Like what suddenly happened?
I don't know.
He admitted that he was that he submitted to or allowed the state to pressure him into what was good and what was bad. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for admitting it. I appreciate you, being a whistleblower. Unfortunately, nobody cares.
Right. Well, again, somebody may had a really good point earlier that I saw on Twitter. And they said, look, Mark, if you're serious about this, you know what's going on with Alex Jones and InfoWars and all that. Mark, if you're really serious about this, you'll buy InfoWars and then just give it to Alex Jones. Again, this is just an example,
yeah.
Jeffrey. But like something like that would mean something. Like, hey, I censored the hell out of you guys. I'm really sorry. This is one of the ways that I'm going to make it up to you. I don't care that you came out and apologized. That doesn't mean anything to me. Show me with your actions that you really, are a changed person now. Otherwise, I'm just going to consider you a liar and a fraud, like I always have. That's how I look at it.
Alex Jones. So I went and saw him. Well, I saw
him with Tucker, right?
I saw him with Tucker. And there was another guy too, Jack something. I never heard of him until Jack Proviak or something.
Okay.
I never heard of him until whatever. So like, and it was funny because Alex Jones said on the next day, he's like 15,000 people were at Reading, Pennsylvania. I'm like, dude, the arena only holds 7,000. And
so he was exaggerating.
You cut off everything from the one goalie back. That's where the stage was, and then you had the horseshoe, right? Which was full pretty much. There were some empty spots, but like there was a lot of people there, a couple thousand people. No problem. So like I would have been in I was at the last I was in row H, which was like a permanent row, and then the seats in front of me were like bent, like bleacher seats that could be moved or closed in. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Think of like a really nice Menin arena, like minor hockey teams played there, indoor lacrosse, indoor football, shit like that. So that kind of like a little bit smaller than Izod or Continental Airlines in Jersey. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where the Devils used to play.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brendan Burns.
Yeah, but without the top and the box.
I get it.
Yeah, Brendan Burr. So it starts, right, and like this crowd warmer guy comes up and he tells a couple of jokes and he can like do impressions and he sings and he does a couple of whatevers. He's out there for like 15 minutes, kind of getting the crowd a little warmed up, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then Tucker comes out. And usually he just kind of like talks for 2 minutes and then brings the guests on and goes and talks to them. But he went on a tirade for like 20 minutes because he knows Pennsylvania and blah, 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 blah. And I can't believe this is happening in Reading and the water and this and that, And then he brought out the Jack guy. He asked him like one or two questions. And I felt like, because he was from a town nearby, Norristown is in the area of here. And he's like, I grew up in Norristown, and my whole neighborhood was Polacks, and eventually we had to leave because of crime, but blah blah blah. Neighborhoods used to be closer, yada yada yada. And then Alex Jones comes out, and the crowd's all cheering for him, and they're clapping for Tucker and this other dude, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Every time he made like a point or thought about something good, there was a clapping. And then Jones comes out and Tucker like half asks him a question and he starts talking and then he starts getting ramped up and then he goes half conspiracy theorist. He said goat spiders. I looked it up. It's weird. And then he'd like make half a point or like, we're going to take Washington back and people would clap. It felt more like a pep rally than it did three guys sitting down and having a conversation. I wanted Tucker to get a little bit like how his normal podcast is when they talk, not this on a bench or on three seats, like hyping up the crowd about like voting. You know what I mean? It just wasn't what I expected. and maybe that's my fault. I should have looked into his live tour better. Yeah, honestly, dude, it was a waste of my time.
I'm sorry to hear that. I mean,
and that's not that I don't like Tucker other times, and I normally don't go with Alex Jones because his one mistake was a big fucking mistake, and I can usually get my point through other sources that I don't need to rely on Alex Jones. But I would hoping he would get into a little bit more as opposed to just saying these things and using them as an example of why they're fucked up now. You know, he's like, they did this, this, and this, and you can Google it. I'm right, and now this is wrong. And then like, yeah, clap, clap, clap. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it was almost like again, it felt like a pep rally. It did not feel like a conversation.
it sounds like you went in there expecting an interview, and that's obviously not what they were doing.
Two guys to talk. I expected 2 to 3 guys to talk about like policy. Like, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? You know, it was like when you said, you know, it just wasn't. It wasn't like that.
Maybe it's because Tucker and Alex, or Tucker's already interviewed Alex at least once. I think it's been a couple times now. And maybe because they already know each other's points on that, and they assume that whoever's in the crowd knows as well. I don't know.
Like the way they were phrasing things, it was like to jack up the crowd and get claps. Like he almost, you know, it's like, and I'm from Norristown, and that's what I believe in. Yeah, you know, that's how he ended it. But you can watch it yourself. It's already up.
I saw the clip of Alex come out. It was quick. It was like a 10, 15-second clip. It was just him coming out and the crowd cheered, and that was it.
Yeah, but go watch any other clips from that one, and you'll see it's the way they're talking that makes you feel that like it could have been the Republican National Convention for all I know. You know what I mean? It was kind of like that.
On the flip side, Alex is kind of a tough interview, I feel like, too. I mean, I like Alex. I don't agree with everything he says, of course, but overall I like the dude. And there's just so many.
He can take the conversation.
He does. He goes like, you ask him a question and then he'll answer the question, but then he'll go into 50 other things like, dude, like come back for a second. Like come back. You know, my audience doesn't even know what you're talking about right now. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, he does tend to do that. Which you know, it's just, it is what it is. I think that's just his character. He's just very like a very explosive person in general, I feel like. You know,
It was
he's very
funny.
high strung.
We're like waiting in line outside to get in. And I went with Dad, who's hardcore GOP, likes Tucker, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think I've gotten him to the point where he's kind of fed up with Fox. So he doesn't really watch the news anymore. So he says. But we're standing in line, and he's like, so what do you think they're going to talk about? I'm like, well, Puffy just got arrested. I'm sure they're going to talk about that. And my dad's like, who's that? And the couple in front of us, you hear the girl just start laughing, and she turns around. She's like, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. And Dad's like, I don't fucking pay attention to you kids. Yeah.
But even still, I mean, that's kind of funny though. Like, no offense to your dad, but Puffy's been around for like 30 years. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm pretty sure my parents know who he is, but I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, but it was like he's just like, who's that? I'm like, he is the music industry's Jeffrey Epstein is what I called him. He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Again, allegedly, but that's probably a good way to describe him going forward. Oh boy. Well, yeah, man. I'm sorry that didn't work out for you, but
it's all right. It's my own fault. I should have known better.
At least you got to. I mean, you still went. Like that's still cool. Like
it won't stop me again. Like if something like that happens again and I'm interested in the conversation, I'll just do my homework better next time.
Yeah, maybe see if it's going to be like interview style or is this a pep rally or what the hell are we doing here?
When I was down at American and I was going to all like the think tanks and the embassies and shit, like they were all like forum. Like there was always a couple people who would talk and they, you know what I mean, and they take questions from the crowd. Not like a big crowd like that, but I don't know, more of the conversation thing is how I get, like, you know how the shit that I watch that I send you. You know what I mean? Yeah. I like debates. it's hard to find a good debate because
nowadays you can't even get people to debate. Oh, I disagree with this person. There's no way I'll show up on their platform. Like, well, if you disagree with them, you should talk to them.
Dave Smith's done a lot for the pro Israel's not the innocent here argument, which he makes very well.
No, both sides are at fault. We've pointed that out numerous times, whether people listen or believe us or not.
He makes it well. So if you want to see him debate, I would look at Dave Smith. And the best one he does is against RFK.
I saw it.
Yeah, but that's the best I've seen him in. Again, he's done a lot. I've seen a couple debates on economics, but even the big guys won't. They're all afraid to argue the Austrians because the Austrians will just show them up.
Mm.
Like even Peter Schiff, who's on Big Time Guy on YouTube. He had his Art Laffer against Richard Wolff or whatever it was. And like it's just hard to see because guys just they get interviewed. Like there's a reason that left wingers don't go on right winger shows. You know what I mean?
Debates aside, like when I think of debates, I think of like two people like, raised voices, back and forth. But if you just sit down and have a conversation with somebody, right? Like if you don't agree with somebody, I feel like that's even more of a reason why you should do that. Why you should sit down and talk about it. And if that other person doesn't want to speak with you because they can't defend their position, you don't have a position.
I remember this dude when I was at Centenary, and he was I took like a history specialized class in like early Irish history. And my professor was a dude from Ireland. And I remember when you would write a paper or talk in class, he's like, you're presenting an argument. You're not arguing, you're presenting an argument.
Right.
This is how I think. And I'm not arguing with you because the word when you argue, you think automatically hostility and violence or fighting.
Right.
When it's instead of saying this is my point and this is how I'm backing up, this is the argument I'm presenting to you, and here is the reasons why.
Right.
Like since 2008 and the rise of social media and walls and talking to each other or whatever, the simple talking of politics it's just become taboo. Like even trying to talk with your own family about it, it's like,
yeah,
we're all going to get worked up and we can't talk about this. We can't, because the less we talk about it, the less we can share ideas with each other, the less we can challenge somebody else's argument or present your own, is a better chance for you to believe what you're told and not question it. And
that's exactly how they want it.
Which is why they want to reduce the flow of information.
Actually, man, that's an excellent point. I feel like we should end the show on that point. It was really good.
Okay. Thanks, everybody, for watching episode 19. If you made it this far, I doubt that anybody on the left still made it after we were bitching about them for like 20 minutes. But I appreciate anybody who's still here. Like it, share it, tell your mom how good the show is. See you later.
Bye. He doesn't mean that, by the way. Less is okay.
Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting the body. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. I did. See, I got the receipts for everything I'm telling you. That's why I can say them so freely.
Kid, I need to know. You here, get your number.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.